Hi, everyone. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Amanda Costello. I actually run the North America account management team here at DoiT International. So for those of you who I haven't had a chance to meet yet, I hope that we get to work together within the existing clients that work with DoiT or in any other capacity. I hope you all are having a great Accelerate. I know we are all hoping this is the last of the virtual conferences. But I do hope to see you all again soon. This session specifically is going to be about our new FlexSave program. For those of you who worked with us with customers in Q4, this may already be a program that you're aware of, but I want to make sure the details are clear and y'all understand how you can leverage it as we go into 2022 and talk to new customers and work with existing customers to get them on committed and new larger agreements. So with that said, I'm going to go through just kind of a quick slide deck to give you an idea of what FlexSave program is if you haven't heard of it. As I know, everything related to committed use discounts on Google can be a little bit fuzzy. So I want to make sure it's super crystal clear for y'all by the end of this discussion. So I will jump into it without further ado. As always, we've got a huge team over here, so if there's ever any questions, you can always ask the reps that you work with today on our end. But you can also reach out to me. My email is amanda@doit-intl.com, and I'm always more than willing to answer any questions that y'all might have. So what is DoiT FlexSave? Essentially, what we are doing is because we work with a huge number of customers on the Google platform, we are making reservations at the organizational level for DoiT. So by doing that, customers are not having to make kind of machine by machine reservations on their own. We are using our combined buying power to make those reservations on behalf of customers and then extending them to customers that are part of this program. The idea, essentially the end goal being that customers can see up to 40% savings on compute. And this takes away a lot of, as mentioned, the complexity trying to figure out kind of what their inventory is across region or machine type, like you have to do if you make committed use discounts organization by organization. So as I mentioned, we're aiming for up to 40%. Now that applies to all machine types, all regions. We do put a caveat of 85% of customers' inventory, just given that obviously as we enroll customers increasingly into this program, we'll be making more and more commitments on the back end. So we don't promise 100% coverage, but up to 85% coverage and up to 40% on those covered resources, which is a huge expansion of the benefits, especially for customers that are only leveraging sustained use discounts today and have not been able to take that step towards committed use discounts. There's no commitment on the customer end. So unlike if they go into the Google console today, where they are specifically calling out a number of cores in RAM that they are committing to over a specific period of time, as well as a region and a machine type, none of that has to happen on their end. We're managing all of that with our own modeling on the back end. So for the customer, it's a lot simpler and it really lowers that barrier to entry of leveraging committed use discounts, which is great because as we all know, that's a critical part of talking about how Google discounts when we approach these larger, longer term contracts with customers. There's no risk to the customer since they're not making the committed use discount at their organizational level. And because they're not tied to any specific machine type or region, if their business needs change and they move to a different machine type, I'm sure we've all been through trying to transition someone's old committed use discounts. It's a painful, tedious process. So we just want to avoid that altogether. And this is a great program to do that. And then lastly, they can turn it on and off whenever. I will say in talking to customers about this program, I generally get the question of why would anyone ever turn this off, which is a fair point. There's certainly cases in which customers have made financial commitments that sometimes they, for once, they actually need to spend more. But I would say generally speaking, this is something that folks turn on and forget about. But if it ever comes up in conversation, this is something that they are 100% able to enroll in and out of at their leisure. How it works. So we have, I think for a long time as a company, been doing, running our own models to track customer behavior, spending patterns. This is a really important part of some things we do, like cost anomaly detection, where we are actively, so to say, listening to customer spend patterns. And then if we see, an abnormal jump in spend, we notify them. So similar to that, we're also seeing patterns in their consumption on compute. So we use that to make decisions on what reservations we make on the back end, and then are able to extend to our customers. We are essentially attaching them to the organizations dynamically. So as I said, if the business changes and for some reason they no longer need those compute resources, or they need a different type of machine, that's not something that the customer has to manage. That's something that we'll dynamically do on the back end, and it will essentially be invisible to the customer. And then they will see those savings at the end of the month. So again, this is a mechanism that exists at Google today that we are trying to simplify so that we see a lot better adoption. Because I think we can all say, I mean, if I think about across my book of business for customers who have gone all the way to elect for 1 year, let alone 3-year committed use discounts, I don't see it as common, and I think it's because they get hung up in the analysis phase. So we're trying to get rid of that completely for customers, so it is literally just an easy button that they can hit. As I said, it is literally one click. Most of you are familiar with the CMP. If you've worked with DoiT before, this is our cloud management platform. All that will happen if they enable if we enable FlexSave is they will have an additional view that they can see. We will give them an estimated savings within that view, and then they will have a start saving button. And it is literally that simple. So again, they're not making any type of specific commitments. They're just enrolling in the program. One thing I will say is we are only opening this program up to new commit contracts. So even if a customer is already committed with us, this is only eligible if they sign a new agreement. So as you can imagine, this was pretty successful in Q4 as an additional incentive we could give as part of agreements and renewals. So I think we'll continue to see that be a really strategic incentive into deals in 2022. But again, if you have any questions, reach out to the team, and I'm always here as well if you want to reach out direct. Once it's available, you will be notified. So if we have a new customer that signed a recent contract, they'll get a notification that says, hey, FlexSave is available for you on Google Cloud. Is this something you'd want to try? And so we'll make sure that the customer will walk them through it. Again, not a particularly complicated process, but we'll make sure that it gets enabled and they get to start seeing those savings as soon as possible. And then on the in the long term, as they leverage FlexSave, they will start to see those savings add up. So similar to some of the other dashboards and reports that you've seen from DoiT, tracking sustained use and committed use discounts, we'll have something similar for FlexSave, and that way customers can understand kind of what the delta is month over month that they're saving versus previous. And this is going to be really important, especially in kind of that post-close portion of the engagement when we've sign the contract and the customer is now saying, okay, I want to see the dollars that I'm saving with DoiT and with Google. And so we'll make that available through that same FlexSave dashboard. So big takeaways. First of all, I want to say if you have any more questions on FlexSave, there's actually a user guide for the Googlers. If you go to our Go link, it's go/doit-intl. But big takeaway is there is no commitment. They're not committing to region, machine type, and they're not having to go get that information, which is a big hurdle for folks to leverage committed use discounts. They should use these instead of purchasing 1 year committed use discounts because it is way easier to manage, and they don't, and the difference in the savings is nil. They're pretty much guaranteed to save money. There's no one on sustained use discounts that's getting 37%. I don't even think that's possible. So there's absolutely upside for any customer using compute. And obviously the heavier the footprint is in compute, the more powerful this can be. It's a great reason to sign a commit with a customer and can be really motivating as far as 1 and 3 year deals, because again, really tangible savings to be had. And then lastly, it speeds up those renewals as well. Because as I said, we're not granting this to customers that are on existing commitments. So if there is a renewal coming up in 2022, this is a great thing to talk with our team about including it if we don't bring it up to you proactively. I really hope that was helpful. There's so much more that we could talk about as far as our cloud management platform and some of the functionality that folks get right out of the gate from working with DoiT. I hope you'll go to our Go link. There's a ton of resources there. We are open to chat about just about anything. We're all pretty much an open book. I look forward to working with you all this year. And I hope you all have a great rest of Accelerate. And I hope to see you all in person very soon. It's been great chatting with you.